Welcome, everyone. We're delighted to welcome you all to NRVP's webinar on Return to Work as part of our Return to Work series. I'm Barbara Kaufman, Executive Vice President and COO of Newark Regional Business Partnership. And I wanted to just tell you a little bit about what we have coming up at NRVP, and then I will be turning it over to our friends at Pillar College. So first, this week, we have our happy hour on Thursday night at 5 p.m., and that is with Newark's own All Points Distillery. Those of you who have attended NRVP's evening receptions in recent months have met Gil Speyer and have had the opportunity to sample some of the spirits offered by All Points West Distillery. Hopefully you have a bottle of at least one of his spirits at home so you can follow along and make the drinks he's going to be presenting. But one of the things that he'll do and will announce is where you can get the All Points West spirits, including our member Cool Vines that presented at our first happy hour. Then coming up next week on Tuesday, June 2nd, is our NRVP Nexus. We've reformulated it so that we are going to have a guest networker at each one. And our guest on June 2nd is Mike Meyer, who is a principal with the Hugo New Corporation that is building out Kearney Point for shared workspace. And that's going to be a wonderful opportunity to connect, particularly good for those in the construction, architecture, engineering professions, but also any profession interested in working with some businesses that are co-located there. On June 3rd, we're going to be having our WELL webinar. WELL is a standard for building that goes beyond LEED. If some of you have heard of LEED, that is sustainability in physical design. WELL looks at sustainability in the human element and the human aspect of design. So please do join us at 2 p.m. on June 3rd to hear about WELL from our member, Ware Malcolm. And then on Thursday, June 4th, Nico Kitchen and Bar, the wonderful restaurant at NJ Pack, now closed because the building is closed, will be presenting and talking about some of the dishes that those of us who have eaten there have enjoyed, and also some of their signature drinks. So please mark your calendars. You can go to our website to see where all of the events and events beyond June 4th are listed. I'm just going to take another moment to go over the format for today. When I conclude my remarks, I'm going to introduce Dr. Wayne Dyer from Pillar College, and he is going to extend a welcome from Pillar and introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Maxine Bradshaw. During Dr. Bradshaw's presentation, there are some points where she's going to be asking for feedback. We ask that you use the question section of the dialog box to pose your answers, and I will be sharing those answers with Dr. Bradshaw during that portion of the presentation. If you have general questions, please also post those in the question area. One question that always comes up is, will we share the presentation? And the answer is yes. Make sure you open your thank you email, and it will be attached to the thank you email. In addition, we are sending out surveys from every one of our programs. We really do want your feedback. What do you like? What don't you like? What topics would you like to hear about? We're constantly wanting to reshape and offer new programming virtually until we can come back together. Following Pillar's presentation and our question and answer, I'll facilitate the questions. Our President and CEO, Chip Halleck, is going to come back at the end. So it is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Wayne Dyer, who was very enthusiastic in the beginning and ready to get rolling. So now please go ahead and let's get right into the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Barbara, and good Wednesday morning. I do say it's Wednesday morning because since I've been working from home, I kind of forget what day of the week it is. But thank you for joining us with this webinar, The Psychology of Coping, Managing Real and Perceived Concerns. I'm Dr. Wayne Dyer, Vice President of Strategic Alliances at Pillar College. We are indeed grateful to the Newark Regional Business Partnership for hosting this webinar. Pillar College has been a member of the NRBP for several years, and we've appreciated their support, the support of Chip and Barbara and the entire NRBP team in good times and in these more challenging times. Pillar College is a Middle States accredited college offering associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree. We're located in Newark in the Military Park Building and have several other sites in Patterson, Plainfield, and Somerset. With the uncertainty and of the COVID virus and whether it will reemerge in the fall, concerned with students leaving home, going away to college, we have put together a special program for students who want to stay here in New Jersey and continue their education. We have an affordable one-year alternative. To find out more about our programs, you can simply go to our website, pillar.edu. It's my pleasure to introduce our webinar presenter, Dr. Maxine Bradshaw. She joined the staff of Pillar College in 2015 as chair of the traditional undergraduate psychology and counseling program and as associate professor of psychology. She was promoted in 2018 to rank of professor, and Dr. Bradshaw teaches both graduate and undergraduate students at all campuses. And I just learned late last night that Dr. Bradshaw was named top 100 leaders in education by the Global Forum of Education and Learning. And that's an international honor. We're so pleased to have Dr. Bradshaw as part of the Pillar family and pleased to have her here making her presentation, The Psychology of Coping, Managing Real and Perceived Concerns. Dr. Bradshaw?
Thank you, Dr. Dyer, for that warm introduction. And I also want to lend my voice in thanking Barbara and the Newark Regional Business Partnership for allowing us the opportunity to share in their Return to Work series. I extend a warm welcome as well to all the participants of this webinar. And as Barbara said, this will be an interactive webinar where you will post your responses to any questions I may ask, and then you in turn will be able to ask questions that Barbara will read off at the end. And my hope is that by the end of this presentation, you will be better equipped to recognize the signs of stress and learn some practical strategies that will assist you to cope effectively and maintain positive mental health. Today's topic, as Wayne said, is the psychology of coping, managing real and perceived concerns, and we're going to unpack that topic in a little while. But before we get started, I want you to test your dialog box, your answer box, by responding to this. Can you identify in 2 or 3 words what are some of your priorities during this time? For example, some of my priorities include sharing coping strategies, as I will do today, get fit, to remain safe, and to stay healthy. So as you think about what your priorities are during this time, I just want to...
Thanks for showing up. Dr. Dyer's doing this. Let's see, does someone want to open up, do prayer, and then we'll back?
There's some feedback that I'm getting that I'm sure.
Thank you, Father.
So while you type your responses, I will share a little bit about myself. And just to let you know that during the webinar, the presentation, I may mute my camera and then will turn later on during the Q&A section. So while you think about that, just to share.
We have some answers. We have some answers already.
Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
Preparing for the safe return of my staff and my clients to the facility. Remaining centered, thinking strategically, being mindful of the needs of staff. Let's see if there's anything else. Family, safety, work-life balance. Let's see if there's any others. Safety, physical, mental, financial health. That's it.
Great. And one of the reasons why I asked you to state some of your priority is that that's also part of coping, being able to hope, to think ahead, and to have plans. So as we continue, feel free to continue to post some of your priorities and your goals as we'll have them. So again, a little bit about myself. I earned an MBA from Howard University, and I worked in the business sector for over 17 years, but I found out that I was more passionate about counseling. So I returned to college to pursue psychology and counseling. We have been working in this field for the past 15 years. I'm now located at Pillar College, but I've also worked in the Associate in Mental Health and Developmental Disability, where I served as their clinical chair and outreach coordinator. So as we continue, you will see that my passion for psychology and counseling, it increases. And I do have an accent, and when I do get passionate about it, you will hear my Jamaican accent coming out. So what is the overview of what we'll be doing today? We're going to unpack in detail the webinar topic about managing real and perceived concerns. We're going to see what psychology is and why that is included in the topic as well. Then we're going to be discussing some key challenges in terms of the fears and the concerns that you may have or had even before this COVID-19 pandemic, and that some of the things that you can count on as you navigate this system right now. And we're going to leave you with some practical suggestions. So when we talk about the perception, we're talking about your thinking, your ability to overthink, to maximize even the trivial of life. And we'll see that some more as we go on. So the word psychology, previously, it has brought forth some images of negative impact. For example, people think about a mental disorder, emotional disorder, or psychotherapy. That's one of the things that people were very afraid to be stigmatized, so they will stay away from seeking out the assistance that they need. But now it has become part of essential services. We have seen an increase in the rate of suicide, as well as the increase in the number of individuals that are seeking services in abuse shelters per se. So, and now it is just normal for us to find interactive ways to our strategic ways to carry out the service of mental health. For example, there are virtual counseling that has now taken on a new dimension. There are virtual weddings, even virtual funerals. There are virtual grief sessions where we partner with the funeral homes, funeral directors to ensure that the family receives some level of closure as they seek to put away their loved ones that have passed with some dignity. We have tele-chaplaincy as well, where I'm working currently with the interfaith community in the mayor's office to ensure that, as you can see, when you leave your loved ones at the hospital, you are not permitted to see them or to go to visit them. But we are working with the mental health workers there at the hospital, as well as the essential medical professional to ensure that they receive some level of strategy, some hope, some encouragement as well. So it's just at this time when you yourself will find some strategic ways, some creative ways to maintain a positive mental health as we go on. And Barbara, you can feel free to share some of the priorities as well as we go on, because it will help someone who would be thinking about, okay, what can I do during this time? So I love the definition. Okay, Barbara, go ahead. You have some additional ones?
Oh, nothing right now, but I will let you know when somebody posts something in the question area. And to everyone, please feel free to do it at any time.
Thank you. So one of my favorite definition of psychology was purported by Wade and Tavris, and it's very simple to understand, even if you are not interested in the field of psychology. And they purport that that psychology is the discipline concerned with behavior and mental processes. And I highlighted that because there is an interconnection between your behavior and the way you think. And not only are there interconnection, but it determining how they are affected by your physical state, your mental state, and the external environment. And we're going to see some more of that. So the psychology of coping involves, as we said, your physical state. Your physical state consists of whether you're experiencing some pain, your inability to move, or even if you have complete lack of mobility. And as you can tell, someone that has a chronic backache or migraine headache, their mental state will be affected, their behavior will be affected, whether they want to be left alone, be in isolation, or whether they have a negative effect consistently throughout the day, or they're just unpleasant to be around, they're moody. So the physical state is affected by the way you think as well, and they are both connected. The mental state, as you can tell, the way we think, way we process our emotions, our perception of danger, or perception of what it means to be in isolation, our perception of how the world will be, whether we'll ever be able to return to normalcy. And I've heard that some of your priorities would be to ensure that there's a safe environment for your staff to return. And that too would bring some level of discomfort just thinking about it, because now not only are we considering how we can save ourselves or remain safe, but now we have to consider that our very behavior affect others as well. And some individuals, while they want to return to normalcy and to be out and about and not be so restrictive, they are not practicing safe mental health or safe distancing, social distancing. So their behavior impacts you. Some people do not understand what it means to be apart 6 feet. Their conception of 6 feet is different from yours. They'll be really up right in your space without maintaining proper boundaries as well. So and then you have to contend with, not only do I have to make sure I am safe, but I have to protect myself. When we go back to our work environment, our workspace, will we ever be able to hang out in the lunch room as we normally would, or would be able to greet each other the way we do? So the things that used to bring some solace now are also under attack. Our ability to go to our places of worship or to go to our gym to keep fit, they are now impacted in this new norm that we have to deal with. So our mental state affects not only our beliefs, but our feeling, but our locus of control. And the locus of control is just the ability or your perception of whether or not things are within your control. And we have internal locus of control where you think that I have the ability to control my environment. and what I do will impact me in a positive way. And we're trying to make sure that everyone hold on to a level of internal locus of control. The external locus of control would be that no matter what I do, my situation or what happens to me will be affected. So an external locus of control, as you can tell, would lead to negative outcome, because if consider yourself, no matter how hard I try, if you're in school, no matter how much I study, I can never pass. I will never graduate. That affects your mental state. So we are trying now to not only produce some practical ways of coping, to ensure that after you have done all you can, that you can still have hope and still have a positive outlook. So our environment, as you can tell, is not only our immediate environment, like where you're right now, whether you're home or you're looking at this in your office, or whether or not you are feeling isolated, alone, broken, discouraged. And just the perception, the belief about if that will ever change can impact you negatively. So at the end, we are going to make sure that after you identify some of the strategies that will be able to use in a daily way, that you will continue to build on these strategies that I will present. So everyone, all of us have to make some adjustment during this time, because everyone is experiencing some level of stress. So we have to rethink the way we shop, the way we go to school, and the way we consider, we view our home environment as well. Things that used to be normal, like normal clutter. Now, for some people, they are seeing the COVID-19, the virus, they're seeing that in every area where there is some clutter. So now your peace has now become invaded with how you think and manage your thought process. So we are all responsible for each other. So what we do affect each other, but we do have the risk of overlooking our children, because just thinking that I'm providing enough for them and not considering the fact that they miss the normalcy of going out, of going to school, of seeing their friends and loved ones. So we have to validate their feeling and allow their concerns to be heard. Spend some time listening to their children as well, and make sure that they understand that that it's okay to feel concerned. It's okay to feel some level of anxiety, but to instill in them hope, to let them know that eventually one day you will be able to do that. You may have to change your behavior and the way you play in the immediate future, but just hold on and we will get through this together. So everyone deals with stress in a different way. So as we contemplate how your mental health is affected, we said earlier on, we're gonna see the best way to understand how to cope is for us to understand the impact of stress on the body. And I'm going to emphasize that in a better way, because I need you to understand that if you see how negatively affected your body will be, then you will actively pursue dealing with the stress in a positive way. So your body will signal when there's a stress, and you have to be aware of that, whether there you have a temperature, or there's a heightened stress level where you have heart palpitation, or you just start to perspire even more. Your body will tell you that you need to slow down and you need to maintain some level of balance. So understanding your body will allow you to determine whether or not you need to take a break. And we can see that a compromised immune system it actually affects 90%, 95% of all disease processes. And whether our body's in a constant phase of alarm, where our body's being prepared whether to flee or to fight. And so we have to remember how important it is not to function daily in that heightened sense of alarm and return of our body to what we call a balance. And as I said, fear, which is one of the most common emotion being experienced at this time, it compromises our immune system. It reduces our body's ability to fight off bacteria and germs and viruses. So we have to learn how to identify our stress level. And each person, by the time we're finished with this webinar, you should be able to identify. So when I was experiencing that, it means my body was telling me something. So these are some of the signs of stress, whether you're experiencing low energy, and if this is consistent, whether it's remain over a period of time. When you have irregular or consistent headaches, whether you have upset stomach, including diarrhea, constipation, or nausea, whether you have aches or pains and you are always tense, you have to find a way to relax, whether you experience chest pain or rapid heartbeat, whether you are not able to sleep, where you have frequent colds and infections, or loss of sexual desire. And this is a visual depiction of what I just said. And when you get this PowerPoint at the end, you just go over it slowly, and anything that I've just glossed over, you'll be able to go in depth. So of course, we said there's heartburn, rapid breathing, producing even the risk of heart attack, high blood sugar, weakened immune system, fertility problem, missed period, or tense muscles. So you need to monitor your body reaction and do not overexert your body, but you need to become emotionally balanced and physically balanced as well. So you are stressed if you have persistent thoughts of gloom and fear. When we're talking about persistent, we're talking about obsessive, intrusive, consistent thoughts of negative things. Whether you have a reduction in how you take care of yourself, your regiment of self-care has decreased or diminished or becomes non-existent. You have to be careful about that. If there's a loss of appetite, and if you're not eating, even when you're hungry, you do not have a desire to eat. If you are more restless than normal, you have to take that into consideration. And some people do have a disposition that they just cannot be calm. But if that has intensified during this period, then you need to reach out for help. If you have a lack of concern or regard for your health, and we're talking about even knowing that your medication is running out and that you do nothing about that, that is a concern. If you're just resigned to nothing I do will help, so I might as well just give up. We are trying to make sure that your attitude will be, I'm going to resist, I'm going to fight, do what I can, and then I'm going to hope for the best. Your inability to control your emotion, leading to feeling of sadness or depression, also are signals that you are stressed. So what are some of the coping that we need to address? Now we know how your body reacts, and that is imperative for us to maintain a proper balance. Let's see what are some of the essentials of coping. So we know there are good stress versus bad stress. The good stress would be, for example, whether or not you have a test that's coming up or you have to prepare and you are motivated to get it done. The good stress is okay because it tends to disappear after a while, even for looking at a new job or buying a home or getting married. Those are considered good stress. The bad stress is the one that you really want to monitor, and you really want to make sure that the manifestation of bad stress with the impact on your body is a short duration. So these occur during this time, especially when there's a death of a loved ones and we are unable to find some level of closure. And this is sad. Recently, last month, actually, there was a funeral on my street. The casket was open and individuals were not practicing social distance. They were greeting each other, crying and trying to console each other in the street. And this is now what our society has become, that people are finding ways to cope and try to maintain some level of comfort for each other. So as we know, these bad stress will lead to an imbalance when we are challenged to maintain proper balance. So we're going to divide the strategies into physical and mental and spiritual as well. So what are some of the physical strategies? We have to monitor our body changes. Know when your body is signaling, just like we just went through some of the signs. Know when your body is telling you it's time for a checkup, a physical, a spiritual, or a mental checkup. We got to take care of ourselves. Whether you give yourself a spa treatment or you visualize a virtual tour of what we're going to do that later on as well. Take some rest. And when I say rest, it doesn't necessarily involve sleep, because you need to rest to stay calm. But we also need to catch up on our sleep as well. So during this time, insomnia is rampant. And when we go to bed, we don't sleep because we are borrowing trouble for the next day. Issues are concerned. I know that during this time, the things that used to bother you, the triggers that will signal stress for you, they did not go away. They were put on pause because of this new urgency just to stay alive and to be safe. So once you identify that, how imperative it is for you to find a balance in controlling your stress level, I am hoping that you will take some of these strategies in place. So you do have to take your safety precautions that is being identified at this time, not only when washing your hands and not touching your face as much as you normally would, reducing that as much as you can, practicing social distancing as well. And if you use a mask, remember that every mask is a one-use mask. What do I mean by that? It means that even if you have a cloth mask that you wash, it should be washed after each use. It's good to have the disposable ones that you would dispose of after each use. But many people, even within my family, they would tell me that I just went around the block walking and then I use this mask and it's good again. I'm going out in the evening to use it again. No, the moisture that was generated while you use the mask in the first time, it's still in a built-up mode within that mask. So you need to wash it or change it. We have to be careful that we continue our diet and our exercise, even to move, just being able to move. Before this lockdown, I was one of them who would have a gym membership and would not go to the gym at all. But now I understand the importance of moving. And that was before, because I thought I was so busy doing things, going up and down the stairs, so that was okay. But now I have to challenge myself to make sure I do get some exercise in. And before when we just started this isolation, I was only able to touch my toes at the count of 10. Now I'm able to do my push up and touch my toes up to a count of 100. So I'm improving. I'm telling you what works for me so that you yourself will challenge as well. And when you walk, you can start out slowly, but make sure you get some brisk walking in so that you can have your heart pumping. Give yourself a hug, and just being able to do that, it improves your immune function and it reduces your heartbeat and it has a calming effect. And keep abreast of your medication, do your deep breathing and relaxation, and you're checking with your physician and your therapist as well. Find someone that you'll be able to speak with. Talking about your feeling, validating your feeling will be able to make sure that you are maintaining positive mental health. So we're going to continue with now some emotional strategies. If you need help, that's my
Dr. Bradshaw,
yes, go ahead, Barbara.
before you continue, we do have a question for you regarding the funeral that you mentioned. And the person asking wondered, how did you and your neighbors respond to the outdoor funeral? And wondering if the funeral home facilitated such an event. And the person posing the question said this sounded scary to them, that people would be, I'm interpreting a little bit, that scary that people would be outside and not social distancing and not observing the correct protection practices.
Well, I can tell you that it was scary to us as well. Immediately after that, no one left their homes for at least 2 or 3 days. Someone did call the cops, but just imagine you are in your home. I'm on my porch and I'm seeing a casket on the street, and people are doing their viewing and everything as if they are indoors. And it was really scary. It brought some level of anxiety to me as well as those in our home. So we were able to talk about it. And when we talked to our neighbors, they were feeling the same way. They were scared to come out because of so many people that was gathering there. The street was filled with cars and all that. So we had at least 50 people. They took her like 3 blocks. And the funeral home, we don't know if the police issued a summons or what happened to that funeral director. But I know that in the end, no one left out of the house, especially for the next day. At least the street was bare, as if there was some virus in the air. Nobody left their home. So that was something that we had to deal with that was unexpected as well. But it also brought to bear just the reality of what people are dealing with, the desperation that people are experiencing during this time, that they thought that they had no other option but to do that. And as someone who worked with the funeral home to provide virtual counseling as well, I can understand the impact of not having closure, the added grief of not being able to attend the homegoing and seeing the director in the funeral home with the casket with your loved one is not the same as actually being there yourself. So we're talking about continue with our emotional strategies, and you need to know how to recognize when you need help and that you will not suffer in silence or alone. Recognize your limits. For example, do not take on additional responsibilities if you are not able to do it. Learn refusal skills, practice refusal skills, when to say no, because you may not be that person that's set aside or dedicated to assist someone right now. Someone is always borrowing and financial help, seeking financial help from you, and we tend to help based on how we have felt the pain in the past. So if you have had an opportunity or experience having financial lack at one time, your heart goes out to someone who you know they are in need. But remember, you may not be the person that's dedicated to help that person at that time, and you have now knocked someone out of getting a blessing or feeling the pleasure of helping that person. Someone may be better equipped to help them. So don't be afraid to say, I hear what you're saying, but at this time, I am not the person that is set up or put in place to help you right now. And I hope that you will be able to find that person who would be better equipped to assist you at this time, but I am not that person right now. So, and learn how to disengage. And to disengage means that the way you perceive things, the way you understand or think your situation would be, you have to rethink it. For example, if you lost your job or if your hours have been reduced, maybe this is a time for you to to navigate starting your own business. So that's thinking about, rather than thinking my world has come to an end, I've lost my job, rethink it, disengage, and write. This is the time to write your book. This is your time to start your online business as well, or to engage more in helping others on social media. So let's go, and don't be afraid to start over or see opportunities to start over in your situation. To have an accountability partner, someone who will be honest, who will be truthful, someone who will give you a different perspective on what's happening, someone who will provide support. And remember your own limitation, and do not overexert that accountability partner. Discover what works for you in your quiet space, and also find time where you can check off your priority, your list, and how you are coping and managing that list. Have to validate your feeling. It is okay to feel anger. It's okay to feel some level of hopelessness. The problem is, do not allow that feeling of hopelessness to overwhelm you in such a way that it reduces your capacity to heal or to maintain some balance. And never forget, continue to set your goals, whether it's to complete some online courses, whether to accept your own failures. And remember, if you fail at a task, it does not mean that you are a failure. So give yourself a break. The same way we give others a break is the same way we need to give our own self a break. So emotional, because as you can tell, that is very important, because how you feel emotionally impacts your body as well. So you monitor your thoughts, have your checklist, and monitor your esteem, to make sure that you increase in positive esteem as well. Change the mood around you, whether or not you meditate, do positive affirmation, you promise yourself to smile more. Keep a grateful log. When you are thankful, it is very, very difficult to have depression when you always have a demeanor of being grateful and thankful as well. And keep your journals during this time so that you can even look back, and maybe your journal will become a bestseller. Who knows? Be creative in reaching out to others as well. And for one of the creative things that I've been seeing is just these drive-by gifts. The Father Day is approaching. You may not be able to physically see your father if he's in the close vicinity, but you can arrange with all the other family members in their car a special time that they say, Dad, we're coming by at 2 o'clock today. So your dad is in the driveway. He puts his box out there to receive all the gifts. He gets a great virtual hug, honk on the horn, and you drive by and you sing his favorite song or whatever it is. People have done virtual parties, whether it's showers or birthdays or whatever celebration it is, and they would plan their meal, and everyone in their own home, and they're connecting Zoom and Google Hangout or whatever other social media that they're able to see themselves. WhatsApp parties as well. So they all cook the same meal, they eat at a specific time, they do their toasting together. They're each in their respective homes, but they are partying and having fun. Don't let this environment slow you down or keep you isolated or in a bad mood. And as well, keep abreast of your personal as well as professional requirements. What are some of the work requirements that you can catch up with? What are some of the school requirements that you have to catch up with? So, and remember, to be grounded, you have to take care of the religious aspect as well. I love Pierce and Koenig. They have done numerous research as well as others. And this article I've shared with Barbara, so they'll be able to share it with you. And they cite many other research as well that state that your faith or religion is more effective in reducing stress and depression and anxiety than secular treatment. Why? Because now, especially when we understand that man do not have the solution. Our government agencies, they do not have the solution. So rather than go into a system of gloom or doom, you now are reaching out to someone that you believe has the power to help you. So that will increase your positive mental functioning. So connect spiritually, whoever your higher power is. Continue to pray. That means just communicate and to read inspirational books and inspirational poems as well. Read the Bible, or someone would share with each other something that would help. Continue positive confession or affirmation. I will come out of this. I will win. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am connected. So these are positive affirmations that you could practice at home with your family as well. Remain hopeful. Have a winning attitude. Do not believe. If you have a choice to say, I'm going to live or I'm going to die, why would you choose the negative aspect to say, I will surely die during this period? Have the attitude that I'm going to win. I'm going to come out of this. So you have to love yourself and learn how to forgive yourself as well. That is also important in maintaining a positive health. And commit to holistic health. Do not just do the body aspect without, and I'm almost done, do not just commit to taking care of your body without doing the mental health check as well, and tapping into the spiritual aspect of it as well. So I wrote an article, and this is a link that will be shared later on to an article that you will get additional strategies on how to cope, especially during this COVID-19 environment. So at this time, I have I want to share with you one of my virtual tour on my favorite place that I visit in my mind so often. This is a beach in Negril in Jamaica that I've been to, the white sand beach. But at this time, I want us to just breathe slowly and then just visualize yourself taking a walk along these white sand. And as you go, just imagine that you have the ability and the power to take whatever negative energy that will come alongside you, and you are going to throw that negative energy in the sea for it to sink. So as we look at this, I want you to visualize that is you. So visualize yourself in a nice, cool ocean. You're walking, feel the water in your toes. Feel the water sweeping all over you, bringing the calming effect. See yourself even sitting at the shore and just enjoying others having a beautiful day. Imagine that you are also in a cruise where money is no limitation. You are on that cruise ship with your favorite people in the world. And I do this often when I just visualize my favorite vacation. When we say take a space to be quiet, you can do, your imagination has no limit. So you can use this to improve your mental coping as well. Your favorite trip, see yourself having fun. I don't know if you're able to hear, but the water is so relaxing. And then at the end of this, see yourself going back into your favorite room. Because money is no limitation, you're in the penthouse and you have room service. Order room service and visualize your favorite meal as well. Or if you choose, after a busy day at the beach, you can go to the gym and do your additional workout. But just don't remain by yourself during this time. Do not remain by yourself at this time. Know that this is gonna work out. You're gonna be okay. And tell yourself that you are gonna be okay. Are there any questions at this time, Barbara?
Yes. The first is a comment, and thank you for that. Actually, before I share the comment, I just want to say that I have been a fan of going to places like what you showed us, and that image, you can feel your blood pressure lowering as you watch that. So it was wonderful. The comment is by a school psychologist in Newark who is on the call. And this person said, "Thank you for the citation of Pearson Koenig." And this person is aiming to do more writing and more clinical work. You know, if you're interested, we could put the two of you together as a follow-up. That person writing can let us know if they want to be connected. It sounds like that might be something, and a good reminder that this is something that NRBP does all the time, is to make connections. You highlighted so many important things in your conversation. You know, one of the ones that struck me was that you talked about insomnia, but sleeping too much is also a sign of stress. If you feel like you always just keep wanting to go to sleep, and that can be a sign that you need to get help. And the other is that we, first of all, there's a lot of online resources for meditation and mindfulness apps that you can get online. And also that amongst our members, we have a very, very good range of people like Dr. Bradshaw, but also healthcare providers in every different specialty. Yeah, we have a lot of variation. Here's a comment you'll enjoy. This person wrote, "I am going to start wearing a bright pink shirt." So that went over well too. And another person wrote that this was very well received. Thank you. Love the visualization and the overview of stress, which we overlook. So very positive comment there. Let me see if there's anything else. When seeking a therapist for psychotherapy, do you have tips on finding one in the New York, New Jersey area that is licensed but also incorporates spirituality and religion into therapy?
Right. So the government, the .gov site at this time, they have many resources and they, I think they separate them into secular as well as religious as well. So when you go on that site, you will be able to find many resources there. And do your due diligence as well. When you do a search online, you will find out. And my suggestion is never go to a therapist without first speaking with them and ask them their belief and what techniques or therapy or what's their theoretical orientation, so that you will have a better sense and not be taken by surprise when you get there or when you start seeing them. So there are so many now that's doing the virtual ones as well. And remember that do not send your information over the internet. They are supposed to mail to you the contract, the informed consent form, so that you will be able to read it, and do not start counseling until you receive that package in the mail and you sign it and return it to the therapist of your choice.
And I would add to that if you can't afford it, Dr. Bradshaw, might you be able to recommend some ways that people can be able to get either reduced cost or free counseling if they're in trouble?
Yes, I do. And if you can too, if you send me an email, I will be able to send you a list of those that are doing pro bono services at this time, as well as reduced rate at this time.
Okay. All right. This was wonderful. We really appreciate it. I want to turn it over to Chip now to close the program because we are nearing the end of the hour. So, Chip, I will invite you back.
Well, here I am, and Dr. Bradshaw, thank you so much this morning for your presentation. It was uplifting and practical, useful, very, very certainly time well spent for all of us. So thank you very much. And to Wayne Dyer and Pilar, thank you for being such good supportive members and really supporting the Newark community in such a strong way. So thank you. Barbara. Barbara pretty much laid out our upcoming activities, and we hope that you'll join us for a happy hour this Thursday as one of the things we can do to make ourselves feel better, join together with other people. And this Thursday, we'd love to have you join us when All Points West Distillery is our guest. Next week for our small group networking at Nexus, our Return to Work series continues with the well-designed webinar. And another happy hour again next Thursday. So we want you to be happy as well. We want you to stay healthy. As we all get ready to return to work, there are going to be stresses and new experiences after getting used to the last normal. Now we've got the next normal that we all need to get used to. And certainly we've got some great coping mechanisms and some good food for thought that you've shared with us today. So thanks again, Dr. Bradshaw. All of you stay healthy. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.